Uno-san, your shirt is almost mabushi in the...
Oh, mabushi. Okay, let's continue.
Right. Okay. So basically, the government report is setting some kind of goals, but they don't quantify it and they don't tell us exactly how to get where we need to go. So there doesn't seem to be a very clear commitment and direction from the government when it comes to renewable energy. And further, what's more, compared to other major countries in Europe, Japan is lagging behind. The price of solar power actually for consumers was 10 yen per kilowatt, which is of 20 yen per kilowatt in Japan, which is twice the price as it is in other countries in the world. So it's still relatively expensive. The question is there really a commitment from the government when it comes to renewable energy? Maybe not. Actually, a few snippets.
Japan?
Yeah.
震災の直後は再生可能エネルギーもものすごく勢いを持って、推進してアクセルを踏んだという状況だったんですけれども、今はむしろ再生可能の推進にちょっとブレーキをかけて、そして原子力の再稼働と、それから石炭火力発電所の新たな建設にむしろもっと力を注いでいるように見えます。
水面に設置することでパネルの温度上昇を防げます。でそれによって土地に設置するタイプと比べてより高い発電量が期待できます。
So Japan the government is backpedaling the subsidies that they introduced after the Fukushima power plant, and they seem to be in favor of nuclear power that they want to reinstall, and in favor of coal installations. Now it has been approved. 45 new coal-powered electricity plants have been approved by ABEM. In 2015. The Japanese government released an energy proposal that includes the revival of nuclear power to account for Japanese energy needs. The proposal calls for an increase of about 20% of nuclear power by 2030. So that means that basically putting all the nuclear power back.
By the way, how come they invested for coal power plant?
This is basically what Japan is trying to do is say, okay, well, we need renewables. So renewables will increase, but we also need other power source. And coal seems to be the choice here. Relative to gas, coal is probably a cheaper source of energy.
But coal is causing lots of pollution.
Yeah, exactly. So they want to offset that with renewable energy plants. So coal on the one hand and renewables on the other. And they still
China they stop using coal.
Exactly.
For heating house. But how come Japan try to encourage to use coal power plants?
Well, maybe they're looking at the United States and say, well, they don't care. Why do we care?
Really? But bad for pollution.
Absolutely. So that also means that probably they will not meet we will not.
Something, there additional equipment to prepare for them?
No, well, I don't know, but basically, the approval of new coal plants by Japan's Ministry of Economic Trade and Industry is putting the country on a path inconsistent with the government's own proposed 2030 generation mix.
Is they consider for new technology?
As well as it doesn't. That's not part of the plan, as far as I've seen. So it's inconsistent with the Paris Agreement. It's inconsistent with their own goals. It doesn't really make sense. And why? Why go back to coal? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, this is my question.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, ridiculous?
Hmm.
They have some reason.
Well, I don't know what the reason is. Well, the
But
only
Japanese is very keen for pollution.
Well, maybe when they are speaking in public, but when they're in private, they let their wallet speak, not their.
Why don't you ask
heart.
why coal for increase energy? Somebody answer for it, is it? I can't believe it. Simply increase coal power plant. I can't believe it.
Okay.
They have some reason.
I don't.
Maybe they found some new technology reducing environmental issues. Japanese many people is very keen for these kind of climate change or environmental issues.
No, this is just obvious.
But if so, if your opinion is ridiculous.
Well, I would not be surprised if the president came up with something ridiculous. Start with me.
Are you coming next Saturday night? Next Saturday night.
To where?
Yeah, Chinese restaurant.
No, nothing. Do we have
My book publishing. Do you know that I published 3 books?
3?
Yeah.
So it's not it's a books publishing.
Books. 3 books.
Oh.
This week.
This week.
This Wednesday I published 3 books.
すごいね.
What the title is The Spirit of Japan and Confucius.
Okay.
3 books.
All right.
Japanese English book.
So I will check my schedule and I will confirm before the end of the
you,
weekend.
it doesn't matter, but always 6 or 7 people join, so coming, so you don't need to concern about that.
Okay, but so
do you know what kind of book is it? Okay, I check beforehand. I will show you. Oh, just a moment. This English, Japanese book. See, every English and Japanese.
You write it in Word?
Yeah, English, Japanese. Just show you. See? English, Japanese.
Right.
Oh, every word in English, Japanese.
You have a publisher for this, or you?
They published already, and I show you. And in front, they have. This is first, second, third books, and this is preface, and this is all English or Japanese. This is if you're going to read preface, you understand the Japanese spirit of Japan. Okay, I published 3 books.
You've been busy. Okay, so let's see what this is published in May 2nd.
What is it?
Science. Bucking global trends. Japan again embraces coal power.
What is it?
Most of the world is turning its back on burning coal to produce electricity, but not Japan. The nation has fired up at least 8 new coal plants in the past 2 years and has plans for an additional 36 over the next decade. the biggest planned coal power expansion in any developed nation, not including China and India. And the last month, the government took a key step toward locking in a national energy plan that would have coal provide 26% of Japan's electricity by 2030, and abandon its previous goal of slashing coal share to 10%. The reversal is partly a result of the 2011 disaster at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power station, which punctured public support for atomic energy. Critics say this also reflects the government's failure to encourage investment in renewable energy. The coal revival, they say, has alarming implications for air pollution and Japan's ability to meet its pledges to cut greenhouse gas emissions, which account for 4% of the world's total. If all the planned coal plants are built, it will be difficult for us to meet our emission reduction goals. Minister of Environment Masaharu Nakagawa noted earlier this year. Not long ago, coal was on its way out in Japan. In 2010, coal plants accounted for 25% of Japan's electricity, but the powerful Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry planned to reduce that share by more than half over 20 years. The ministry counted on nuclear power to pick up the slack, with its share of the nation's electricity set to increase from 29% in 2010 to 50% in 2030. Of course, that didn't happen. But the 2011 Fukushima nuclear accident forced a reassessment. All 54 of Japan's reactors were shut down pending compliance with new safety standards. Just 7 have restarted. 7? I thought that only 1. And really? 7? Did you know that? 7 have.
Maybe, I don't know.
Huh. Utilities have turned to liquefied natural gas and coal, which surged to provide 31% of the country's electricity in 2014. In many other nations, natural gas has replaced coal as the fuel source because gas costs less. But in Japan, coal is cheap, says Takako Kikukawa, an energy economist at Tokyo University of Science and a member of METI Advisory Council on Energy. That's because the nation must import natural gas in its relatively expensive liquidified form.
Wow.
The new energy plan would cement coal's central role. Endorsed on 26 March by a METI Advisory Board Council and likely to be adopted by the Cabinet later this year, it calls for nuclear plants to be restarted, boosting their share of electricity generation to between 20 and 22% by 2030. Renewable energy shares would rise slightly to between 22 and 24%, with solar energy alone accounting for 7%. But fossil fuels, coal, oil and natural gas would provide 56%. That reliance on coal will make it difficult for Japan to fulfill its pledge to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 26% below 2013 levels by 2030 and by 80% in 2050. Those cuts will be even harder to achieve if now shuttered nuclear power plants aren't restarted. Power industry officials, however, claim they can limit emissions by building so-called clean coal plants and systems for capturing carbon. As an example, they point to Unit 2 at the Isogo Thermal Power Station in Yokohama. Completed in 2009, it uses the so-called ultra-supercritical cycle, which generates steam at very high heat and pressure, boosting the plant's efficiency to 45%. Compared to 30 to 35% for conventional plants. The result is the world's lowest emission per unit of power, according to the International Energy Agency.
Okay, technology.
Yes, but technology, my ass. Renewable energy was going to be the...
yes, but they try to reduce hydrocarbon generation.
Right, they try to reduce, but this is a complete reversal of what they were doing. This is and not widely publicized either.
Well, how do we say pretend? Pretend. Okay. Let's move.
Well, actually, well, this is the Nikkei index. The Nikkei. That's probably more positive news.
Okay. Go ahead. I don't need to know more.
You don't need to know more? Okay. So you say it's hello? Why is it?
Oh, Asian Review. This is very famous one.
Hello? Why is it not? We need to offset emissions from a planned coal-fired power plant through such steps as shutting down old fossil fuel capacity. Japan's environment minister said, warning that the project threatens the national ability to meet the climate goals. The utility seeks to build another heavily polluting plant at the time when Japan already finds it challenging to achieve emission reduction targets. Nakagawa said in environmental impact assessment to be submitted Friday. The Shugoku electric plant to break ground for the 1 million kilowatt plant in western prefecture of Shimane this November and bring it online in 2022. Coal accounts for nearly 60% of the company's power generation, double the national average. Nakagawa said he will let the project go forward, but demands steps to mitigate its impact, such as scrapping or suspending old inefficient fossil fuel facilities or limiting the new plant use. Under the Paris Climate Change Accord, countries including Japan agreed to aim for net zero greenhouse emission by the end of the century. But sluggish progress on restarting nuclear power plants in 2011 Fukushima Daiichi disaster has surpassed power companies to build new plants using cheaper fuels such as coal. So it's just a matter of money. Okay. So, well, my conclusion is that they are absolutely not serious. So, are they really taking these renewables serious? I don't think so. I don't think that with this kind of steps, you're completely hampering the possibility to actually stimulate bringing these kind of new technologies to Japan. Also,
okay, the true reason is they try to import natural gas, but they are limited import gas. So just the remaining alternative is coal. Okay.
Well, or renewables, but
renewable cost much, so they can't make investment by government. They can pay more subsidy. No, they cannot. That's the reason they decide. Okay, tentatively they try to use coal.
But how
makes sense.
But how long will it last? On top of that, Japan will completely lose its competitiveness when it comes to developing technology in renewable energy, which is the future. So basically, this is very short term.
Oh my God, this is politics.
Philosophy. Yeah, but this is very short term politics, don't you think?
No, always politics is short-sighted. I never heard about the long-range strategic politics.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you think about Germany? What Germany is doing? That's very long.
Politics. This is culture.
I don't think so. It's politics. It's
culture.
Really politics.
Their culture.
No,
not politics. I don't think so. The German is culture. They try to build a house. Okay, it's sustained for 200 years.
Right.
This is different.
Right.
Vietnam, okay, 5 years.
Right.
Okay, let's move.
So, are they really taking renewables seriously? My answer to that question is no. They're not. I think they dropped it and they turned around and said, well, if we cannot restart the nuclear power plants, then we just need to start coal. Not renewables. Coal is the answer, which is really based on today's technology and today's solution. I really think that when they will be asked this question in about 5 years' time.
Oh, I tell you, Japanese is a very, 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 very conservative country. Renewable energy is a new idea.
But don't you think that if we ask the same question in 5 years' time and we look at what is economically viable, that solar power might be more viable than even a coal plant?
Educated people, they understand, but the majority of people not educated.
Not educated.
Like, do you believe that the poor skilled people It's 70-80%. They don't think about it.
Including politicians.
Of course. Do you know the American politicians? They don't know internet, right? They don't know
It's amazing. That's really amazing. You saw the videos?
You saw the video on Facebook? Yeah.
I published it in the group.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But
Members of Congress. It's not like...
not everybody, not like you. You exception. Must be listen to them. This is the Confucius teach you. Listen to them.
Right.
Not like you. Everybody is not like you. Just think about that. Your common sense is not common sense for them. Right? Ask question for the people that walk in street. Do you hate coal power energy? Their answer is, so what?
So what?
Do you know renewable energy? Sorry, I don't know. This is the truth. This is Japan. Same as constitution. Do you want to change constitution? Absolutely no. Right?
Right.
This is my book. And I wrote The Spirit of Japan. I'm writing the book, 3 books. Then I recognized, oh my God, none of those remained. We disappeared 100 years ago. This is Spirit of Japan. But I now understand. This morning I told Kimoto, Japanese emperor is exactly the spirit of Japan.
Right.
You know that?
Right.
Oh, I didn't know that. She is, just looks like God.
Right.
Okay? He very, very educated. He never delay. Right? Not like me. Never delay. Okay? He never chasing another woman. So, very well educated.
We would never know if he did.
Right? So this is I didn't know that. This is just exactly, we lost Spirit of Japan. No. Current emperor they have. That's the reason why 2,000 years history we sustained our country. This is you're proud of, and we need to give them know what is current emperor, what kind of his character, his life. So Japanese people should know that, right? So nobody knows.
Yeah, but I think that's also that explains his immense popularity, like everywhere. I don't think that the emperor, there is nobody who's opposed.
Oh, you
the
know
emperor.
that?
Right?
You know that?
I think so.
It's amazing.
No, I think not only inside Japan but also outside Japan.
But your country is also not the emperor.
Our emperor,
not the emperor.
our king is
king.
Our king is the opposite of the emperor.
Oh, king.
He's 100% opposite.
King is very well educated.
No. Well, yeah.
Same as British king.
So he's mama educated. He's mama educated.
English. Do you know Britain king is not educated?
Oh, ne, iranai na.
Right?
So
he's chasing another woman.
Right.
No kidding. Japanese emperor never do that.
No.
Right?
Well, our king, I think he actually he was caught drunk driving, getting off the road.
This is Japanese emperor is different from other countries' king.
Right.
So this is just
our king is. I think actually, the reason why our king is popular because he's exactly like everybody else with all his shortcomings and everything that he.
Oh, he's very popular.
Very popular.
Oh, okay.
The Japanese emperor
looks like a populist.
So. Actually, he's also a member of IOC, the International Olympic Committee.
Oh, really?
And but he's like the biggest fan of Dutch athletes.
Oh, really?
So he's always like complete with orange costumes and.
Oh, Japanese emperor never do that. They're very well educated, very patient, tolerance. Right? Okay.
But this is actually.
I try to do something.
Yeah.
You like this? You like excitement about kind of story? Yeah. type in Dutch.
So,
Oh, drunk. He's a drunk. Okay.
where is he? Where is he? Where is he?
But also your country have a special person, Gilda. Right? Gilda.
Gilda?
Yeah.
Ah, on our former.
Yes, yes.
Where is it? Aww.
What are you looking for? This is king.
Right. No, this is an official one. The unofficial one. Somebody is filming them while they.
Really? This is Sochi Olympic.
This is another one. Oh, yada.
This one?
No, it's.
This is wife?
Yes.
Oh, so beautiful.
Yeah. Did they take it down? So I can't find it. I think I posted it in Team Swing by once, but
So he's talking bad joke or something?
no, but he's such a normal guy, like just a regular sports supporter. He's very much just a regular person.
It means his house is not so many years, 200 years.
No, it's older.
200.
Well, actually, basically, the House of Orange is from its oldest in ever, so 400 years.
400 years.
400
Oh,
years.
it's very long years.
Yeah.
But blood is so much mixing, right?
Right.
Oh, it's so bad. Not like emperor.
So his father is German. So his wife is Argentinian.
Oh my God! So too much mixing.
So it's mixing a lot.
So
Well, it's actually good because we got much better blood into our royal family. That's
no. Royal family, Japanese royal family is blood, not blood mixing.
right.
And also they are not recently, not past couple generations is different. The wife get from common people, ordinary people. But before that, they just get married within their family.
Right.
Right? Within their family. So that blood is pure. Recently they try not to do that. Right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't believe that the Japanese royal family, they have the same bloodline for 4,000. How long? 2,000 years.
But also they have Korean blood.
Because I cannot believe that.
No. Yeah, this
for 2,000 years.
Yeah.
For 100 generations, that never was infertility and
some exception, yes, but
course.
we know that reason why unbelievable. So we must respect them. We must respect them. Okay.
Yeah.
Only Japanese emperor in the world. Only Chinese no, Korean no, Dutch no. Right? British no.
This is not what I meant, but...
De liefde tussen de koning en de Olympische Spelen was er al toen hij nog een prins was. Dat is 1994 in Noorwegen. Sindsdien heeft hij bijna geen Olympische Spelen gemist. Doet hij de overwinningen graag mee.
Oh, yes?
Komt er een mening bij als het even kan.
Die hebben speciaal voor deze gelegenheid een Haagstuk ingestudeerd.
En wens hij de sporters het liefst persoonlijk nog even het beste voor ze beginnen.
This guy,
Eén keer
left
was
side,
hij er niet.
very
Moesten
big
de
guy.
Spelen wijken voor die andere grote liefde. 2002 was hij op huwelijksreis. Maar dat maakte hij goed door wel samen met zijn kersverse vrouw te verschijnen op de Paralympische Spelen. Hij is er graag bij als er medailles worden gewonnen. Ook in het Hollandhuis. Met vrouw en kinderen, zonder kinderen, casual gekleed, met regenjas als het weer erom vraagt. En dit weekend dus weer. In ieder geval tijdens de openingsceremonie. Net als in Londen, 4 jaar geleden. En voor de tweede keer als koning. Dat was voor het eerst in Rusland. Toen hij ook een biertje dronk met Poetin, wat niet bij iedereen in de smaak viel. Met wie hij dit weekend wat gaat drinken? In ieder geval met de sporters tijdens zijn bezoek aan het Olympische dorp. Hoe zijn agenda er verder uitziet, dat is nog geheim. En ook of zijn andere grote liefde erbij zal zijn.
So very different from the Japanese emperor, this one.
Edo-san, he could manipulate a jet plane, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
He has a pilot license.
Pilot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
pilot.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So regarding renewable energy, it seems like Japan is not really, the government of Japan is not really serious about going towards the third industrial revolution. Is my conclusion. So I would like to work towards a general conclusion and to make a few prophecies, forecasts about what's going to happen with in relation to this new technology in Japan. Based on what we saw in the past weeks, months even, I've written down a number of trends and developments that I expect will happen in Japan as a result of this new technology. First of all, GDP will shrink, but welfare in total will not decrease. Convenience, healthcare, education, safety, excluding cyber safety, will improve.
What do you mean convenience?
Convenience, making things more easily accessible. Convenience means making life easier, so we don't need to wait at the cash register. Food will be delivered directly at our homes. We don't need to go to the Yodobashi camera because the stuff will be delivered at our homes. We don't need to basically leave the house anymore. Everything will be brought to us directly. We have access to all kinds of services that will make our life actually easier. So that kind of convenience. But yeah, GDP will go down. Cybercrime will be rampant because the more we will rely on IT and IoT, especially IoT, the more cybercrime will become interesting because everything will be connected to the internet, right?
Big crime.
Big crimes. It will be very easy to if you can crack IoT, then you can access any house, manipulate almost anything, which is a big danger of the new age. So
My simple question is, how come the terrorist people attack Japanese nuclear power plant? very easy to destroy the Japanese nuclear power plant.
Right.
Because just fact
But
happened.
they're all offline,
But fact 2011 shows that, right?
right.
But if they decide to do it the same way, very easy to attack them.
Yeah, well, actually, but it's supposed to be so that it looks like these nuclear power plants are very vulnerable, but they are resistant. For example, for an airplane to crash into a nuclear power plant would not result in a shutdown, according to what I.
No problem.
No problem.
Really?
Right. Right. So officially, they should be resistant. I know in the United States, all of them are resistant against these kinds of terrorist attacks.
Japan the same.
Well, we thought that we were safe, no?
But in Middle East, lots of self-bombers.
Right.
So those people educated, they became...
Yeah. Okay, but self-bombers, that's one thing. That's much weaker than an airplane crashing into a nuclear power plant, right?
Japanese people are no guard, so they will machine gun, get into nuclear power plant, they kill them all, and they're easy to get inside.
But then you still need to bring it to explosion. That's not so easy.
But they can get inside.
If they can. I'm not sure how well they're being guarded. These nuclear power plants.
If some people educated, they know how to open valve.
Probably.
But how come those people never attacked the Japanese nuclear power plant? This is my wonderful question. Why? Japanese is like a defense force.
Japan has not been
no defense force there, right? America guarded by military.
I don't know if they have any guards outside.
Yeah, I believe so.
I would be very surprised if there is no security.
Huh?
I don't think that there is no security. But I don't know how tight the security is, and because we are led to believe a lot of things. I'm a little bit.
No news. Nobody attacked them.
Right. Well, or everything is like pushed under the rug. That's also possible.
Okay.
Transparency will become an important asset for businesses, especially for businesses that thrive on.
What this means? Transparency will become important asset.
So, if you as a business can show that you that you have a responsible way of producing your goods, that you are environmental friendly, that you are socially responsible. If you can create this kind of transparency, if you can make your organization open and make that information available to customers, they will buy from you.
How about government? You
Well,
mean
the government's not selling anything.
You mean transparency will not become an important asset?
The transparency will become a very
will not become an important asset for government.
For government.
Yes.
Well, okay, the government is not selling anything, right?
Yeah, will not become good government.
Well, the question is does the government want to cheat, yes or no? Does the government want to, like, there are certain things that the government wants to expose, and there are other things that they may not want to expose. But if you are capable, because actually, I think there will be a trend towards transparency. Why? Because it will be very easy for the customers to actually follow the supply chain using blockchain technology.
Yeah.
It will be very easy to track it. Then, if the customer can choose between a product that is transparent and a product that is not transparent, and if the prices are more or less the same, then I think that companies that are transparent will be preferred over companies that are not transparent, because basically you get you're not only buying products because they're products, you're also buying a feeling. You want to feel good about yourself. So you want to know that the product that you just bought was biologically friendly, that no animal suffering was involved, that no slave labor was involved. So these kinds of things that give people a better feeling about themselves if they buy it. So
for business, yeah.
For businesses, yes. For
that means traceability.
yes,
Yeah.
And I think that there is a big future for transparency in the supply chain. Companies that show, okay, we are a socially responsible, sustainable company. They want to show that, and they will set the basically the minimum level that other companies need to follow, or they will go out of business. So because they can, the technology is there. The companies, the strong companies, will raise the bar for the other companies. So I really feel that we will enter an age of transparency. Not just simply a logo, but actually show it. There will be clear losers: shop staff, taxi drivers, data processing staff, for example. The elderly will revolt against loss of traditional Japanese values. Politicians will support their cause. This will delay the implementation of new technology. Japan will lose competitiveness. Why is that? Basically,
they cannot catch up.
They cannot catch up. What's happening? And basically, the world is no longer bound by Japan itself. The world will globalize no matter what. The younger generation will have access to it. That means that basically, the more the elderly generation will turn itself against the younger generation, the more they will isolate themselves.
Yes, sir. This is the point. Isolate.
And the problem with that is that because politicians are old themselves, plus they always follow the voters. The elder generation votes. They feel represented by the politician. The younger generation doesn't feel represented by the politicians. So politicians will support the elderly generation, which means that they will actually go against. There will be a reactionary movement in Japan that will go back to traditional values, to the Japanese way of doing things, and that will basically put a hold on the competitiveness of Japan.
Yeah, major reason is even younger people, they are losing jobs, but the elderly people, they have nothing to work.
Right.
So this is more elderly people, they're going to get frustrating. So that's they said, okay, we try to keep traditional Japanese value.
Right.
But this is losing.
Right.
So they cause them more get irritating, frustrating.
Right.
This is a major reason. By the way, I need to ask Takahashi. He will come next Monday. No? Just a moment. Takahashi. Delete.
So many emails and maps.
Oh my God. So much. Takahashi. Oh, yeah. Next Monday.
I'm afraid I don't have any material for Monday yet.
No, I just asked a question for you. No, you can repeat this today. So. But maybe he's going to answer at 5. I'll try to confirm him today, right? Okay. Go ahead.
So, loneliness will become death cause number 1.
Right. Exactly. This is, we have no answer how to solve it.
Right.
Do you know the 30% of elder men will live alone, like him? Like him. Lonely.
That doesn't mean that they are lonely.
But loneliness. Not loneliness. Not loneliness. Not lonely.
But loneliness will be a very serious problem. Death cause number 1.
Cause number 1.
Alienated younger generation will look overseas for new community to belong to. Because the elderly generation will turn their back on them. The younger generation will have to look overseas for new community to belong to. The next generation in Japan may prosper as a result. More global outlook, decentralization of power after 10, 15, 20 years. Significantly improved ties with Asian neighbors.
Really?
Yeah, because it doesn't. First of all, history will become further and further distant.
You mean the Japanese can speak English in future?
Yeah.
Great.
Good.
Yeah, I think that because the younger generation will not be accepted by the elder generation, they will find that their world will not lie inside Japan. The younger generation will not want to go back to traditional Japanese values. And that means that basically they are more or less driven outside of the country for their relationships. Now, this will not immediately lead to...
You said 15, 20 years?
Yeah. At the moment, not yet. Not immediately. That will take some time. We still need 1-2 generations to pass. But I think that basically that will make sense. I mean, Japan is not an exciting environment for young people. It's not vibrant. There are a lot of elderly people that are a burden for young people. They will try to find opportunities outside of Japan because this is not a vibrant economy. So they will look overseas, and it will be very easy because the technology will allow you to do that, to build up relationships overseas. So that will lead to more exposure to international environment, and that in itself will lead to better relationship between Japan and the overseas countries. Another thing, Japan will follow the Nordic model.
Just a moment, but still, I have some skeptical for those people, or those young people go abroad.
Really?
Yeah. Because they are educated just only in English, in Japanese, right? How come they can go outside?
Oh,
I just, I only one fact know that is Japanese people, young people, they don't want to study overseas.
At the moment.
Yeah.
At the moment. But why is that? Because the Japanese companies, they don't value their experience. Basically, actually, they're more suspicious.
No, they don't want to go outside.
Yeah, because there's no bonus for them. I mean, it used to be that if you went outside, you get a global vision, you get a better job. But that's not the case. Going outside, you're more or less a betrayer, but you're trying to run away from the Kibishi Japanese educational system. That's the general understanding for a lot of employers regarding young people who studied overseas.
Japanese education system will not change next 10 years.
Really?
No, I don't think so. Can you replace teachers?
Of course, with e-learning, etc. Why would you continue to give this poor level education, English education?
School is not e-learning. Like elementary school, middle, high, the teacher is the same.
No.
The current majority of the teacher is not neutral.
Right, but I mean, they cannot uphold this poor level of English education.
As you know, this is a majority of the teachers never stand up. In the case of anthem,
Right, but that doesn't mean that they don't love children.
they don't love country.
Yeah, love country. That's a different issue. That's a different issue. But I think that
And they can speak English.
right. But do you really think that in 10 years' time the English
No,
education will be
no,
exactly the same as it is today?
Yeah.
No, this is obviously broken.
Okay, if we can go into switching teachers, it's possible. But teacher is the same. This world never change.
But if you were on the educational board in Japan, would you actually?
I tell you, okay, teachers, are you interested in overseas? Yes. Do you like go overseas? No, I don't want to go. So those teachers teach children. Teach children never change their mind.
Right, but children now they can actually they have access to actually either learn from their Japanese teacher, learn English, or go into an e-learning program with American English teachers. My niece is 5 years old. She learns English on her iPad, and every week, twice, she meets with a teacher either in the United States or somewhere in Europe, directly, face to face, and they communicate in English.
Japanese are not.
Yeah, but they will. They will, and they actually will. I mean, the technology is out there. My niece now speaks English. She understands everything. She doesn't speak it so much, but she understands everything. When I speak to her in English, for her, she can follow everything. So that is already out there. That it's about to happen because the English education in Japan is broken.
I just started my school for 5 years ago, but since then, many Japanese come here and disappeared. But all those people, they are very, very educated, but they cannot speak English. I don't think they're going to change next 10 years.
Yeah, but they are not going to change. The younger generation is going to change.
Younger generations are the same.
No, I don't think so.
Can you imagine our younger people joining here, but still he training English training. He have just encouraged to study English, but still nothing.
But Uno-san, can you imagine that you are working for the government in the education board, and in 10 years' time you have all this technology around you, and you would still uphold English teachers from Japanese origin who don't speak English? No, you're going to introduce.
No, they cannot. Impossible. I know that. English speaking is not easy. But Japanese education system, they cannot master speaking English.
So they need to change the system, and
no, they cannot.
That education is available everywhere.
They cannot. Everywhere, English school. Everywhere, English school. Everybody go to English school, but nobody can speak English.
Right, but that's well, basically because in junior high school, the English education.
Okay, I tell you, some people
is still done the traditional way.
People, they are professional English speakers. They want to come to school, but they cannot, or they will not. They never come up here again because they want to pick more easy way to study English. Many people tell you, okay, you can study English more easy way instead of going to school. Okay, you can. So nobody cannot speak. Anybody cannot speak English well. Because they to pick up the easy way, easy going. Japanese people, they don't know how to difficult to study English if he's not native speaker. But they do not know. But I'm also experienced person in the past for 10 years. It's not easy. So 10 years later, okay, or back to 10 years, okay, going ahead 10 years, same, nothing changed.
Well, I would be very
you
surprised.
misunderstand.
I would be very surprised.
Japanese, you don't understand Japanese.
I would really be surprised because, like, with all the technology available, with all the direct interaction available, it's so easy to get access to better teachers anywhere.
I tell you, they never access.
Yeah, well, maybe that should become mandatory or something. I don't know.
No, mandatory. Even though my children,
But do you
mandatory. But
you think they're going to get like all these stupid American and English kids here to do like pronunciation education in the schools and let them communicate with kids? That's nonsense. Just iPads in the classroom. Communicate directly with much better great teachers than what they get right now.
okay,
The level of these people is so poor.
my recent three children, I sent them to international school, and not all of those successful.
No,
Okay,
but not all of them failed either, right?
no, one is already went to the American university. So this is for Japanese people study English is not easy. I understand, even if parents going to pay lots of money, but this is difficult. So if consider for Japanese school, almost impossible.
But I think that if I look at myself, then where did I learn how to speak English? This much was about what I learned in the classroom. The rest was from reading books, watching television, being engaged with foreign culture on a daily basis. That basically learns you how to
We have,
speak a foreign language.
if you consider for the kind of environment we have, but nobody do that. Nobody do that. Kimoto he does, but very few. Takashi he does,
So that's when you learn how to speak.
but usually none of those people does kind of activity or kind of training, like listening, video, everything. No, they don't do that.
Right, but it comes with while you're doing other things. Like while I was studying economics, I had to read all these English books. Like
Even
a
if,
lot of English
I
books.
tell you, even if talking university professors, they are writing articles, they are like a bulletin board, everything, but based upon Japanese article, not English. They never read English articles, write down some his own sentence. Never do that. Do you know why? Because he don't have confidence to read English sentences. Reading Japanese is more easy to understand. And he just he does not able to miss the point. If he is going to reading English, like a YouTube or article, everything else, very difficult to get information from those sources. If he is not familiar with reading English, but almost all people are not familiar with reading English. Watch TV, watch YouTube. They do not, or they cannot.
But yet many people go overseas for holidays and
No,
study.
go holidays, but they never read newspaper. You misunderstand it. You misunderstand it. I know that.
But okay,
Okay, my wife went to the Hawaii every year for 10 days. She never speak English, just delicious food and sightseeing, and take it easy at poolside. That's all. After 10 days coming back, nice holiday. That's all. Communicate with local people? No, they can speak English well. Of course, she can speak English a little bit, but not fluently. No progress. Same. Even Japanese
right, but it was not the objective.
If young person go to the States for 3 months, it's nothing. Even if they go Europe 1 year, nothing.
Yeah, but the point is that just like the Japanese business people who go to Singapore at night, when you really get to know the people, they get together and they they actually
I tell
engage
you,
with Japanese people.
even if he get a government, or even if he talk with local people, but their English is terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not my experience.
Okay.
That's not the people that I know.
Few Japanese can speak English fluently. Majority people is terrible.
No, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm not representative because other people.
Maybe you know the couple guy, but majority.
Yeah,
no.
I know quite a few
Just
Japanese
only,
people.
no, not quite a few, couple.
Quite a few.
No kidding.
Mm.
You are talking about Japanese living in Singapore? No kidding.
No, I'm talking about the Japanese people that I know from the Netherlands, for example, that I know here in Japan. They are fluent in English.
Very few. Very few, not many.
Well, not a lot, but but like, for example, I'm a member of Toastmasters. Toastmasters is an organization.
Oh, Toastmaster is very keen to speak how to speak English.
Right.
But if you're going to Singapore or you're going to meet Japanese people, no, they cannot speak English well.
In Singapore.
I tell you, they don't need to study English so much.
Right, but how come? So basically, that's the basic attitude. It's just like, okay, if you go to the Netherlands, you're looking for a Japanese person. What you do? So how do I find a Japanese person? Very simple. You go to Amstelveen. Amstelveen is a little town next to Amsterdam. That's where all the Japanese people live. All of them. It's like a ghetto for Japanese people. And they all hang out together. Their only friends are Japanese. They communicate in Japanese, they eat Japanese, they talk Japanese.
Really?
They're entirely a Japanese colony.
Really?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Why? This is a completely open country. Every other culture is mixing. Japanese people are not mixing.
That's right. China same.
They're not mixing.
Singapore same. Okay, I tell you. Same.
Oh, sorry, yeah, bye. You never learn anything if you.
This is Japanese culture.
So, but it's actually like, I met so many Japanese people in the Netherlands who were really depressed because it's not like, okay, so they're not part of the Dutch society, but they're also very confined within the Japanese society, because especially when you're overseas, that society is very small. So it's like living in a very small village where everybody is talking behind each other's back, and this person doesn't go well with the other, and it becomes very
many
stressful.
Japanese business person are assigned to overseas, right? And China and Europe and America, but they cannot speak English well. Right? They cannot. So how come 10 years later, 15 years later, younger people go overseas can speak English?
They can, because they have different education. They have a different starting point because they don't identify primarily with Japan anymore. For them, because the elderly generation does not welcome them, they want to go back to traditional Japanese values.
Is this your opinion?
Yeah.
Wrong.
I think it's right.
No evidence. No statistics.
No, I don't have evidence. And no statistics. It's a future. It's a forecast for the
I'm
future.
talking about 10 years ago. Now I'm considering for 10 years later. Nothing changed.
I think.
Okay, I tell you, Japan, they are those people. They don't like change.
Yeah, but that's exactly why younger people will get fed up with them.
No,
That's exactly why they will start to engage with
they don't
the
want
world
to change.
outside of Japan.
They don't want to change. This is very conservative.
I doubt it. I think actually the
Similar to America.
elderly.
Do you know the similar to America?
United
States of America, they don't want to change.
Right. And I think actually I 100% believe that.
Do you know Chinese? They want to change.
So we both agree on so they don't want to change, and I think actually that will lead to the elderly generation that will grab the power, and that actually will lead to a revolt of the younger people against the elderly people, and that will drive people outside of Japan or orientation outside of Japan. that's why I have hope for the future that Japan will become more competitive and more outward going.
This is your hope, right? Your hope.
Well, it would be logical. I think it would be logical that because if you lose connection within your own society, you're going to look for other society to belong to. No? Well, if it's not inside Japan, it has to be, logically speaking, outside of Japan. That means that people will be more outward focused. That also means
another way I try to explain for you. Younger people recently, especially younger people, they do not want to try to make an effort to attain something. Okay, they not to working hard or study hard. They don't want to. Okay, there are many younger people easygoing. So kind of people, how come they try to seriously consider to study English? I don't understand.
Well, because I think that...
Okay, in Japan, we don't have English background environment, okay? So, if you're going to want to study English or Japanese, it's very hard. Not easy. Unbelievably hard. But how come younger...
But you get something in return, right?
No, they don't think so. They don't think more higher position. They don't think. Do you know the number one is that their life goal is something teacher or something?
Teacher.
Yeah. Second is they want to going to be some baseball player or something.
Oh, yeah, I want to that too.
Yeah.
If I would.
Yeah.
If I would be
the woman is number one is a nurse or something.
Right.
Second is some...
That's probably as long as they have these kinds of questions. That
yeah, second is like working for some haircut.
Hair salon?
Hair salon. It's just no big dream.
Yeah, okay, but they're 6-7 years old.
Okay, how come those people want to study English? They are not relating anything at all.
How old were the people that asked this question?
Middle high school.
Really?
Yeah. So this is fact. This is because of the reason is their parent and their teacher. Okay, this is disastrous. So that's the reason I'm very much worried about Japanese spirit. They lost them all. Okay, no dignity in future. Even if senior people, they don't have dignity, pride, right? So how come the younger people get study from those old senior people or their parents? This is a fact. So that's the reason I wrote 3 books, you should study. And I wrote books as Spirit of Japan, but just writing book, and then I recognize, those Japanese people, they don't have all of those. They had 100 years ago, but not now. But you try to revive those spirits again. This is my recommendation. I recognize. Then finally understand, okay, Japanese emperor, he has. It's a pity, only emperor. Right? 100 million people, they lost kind of dignity.
But also, of course, the emperor, from his birth, he's kind of forced to follow that.
Yeah, that's right. So it's the current situation we need to consider, very serious situation, and devastating situation currently Japanese environment is. We need to reconsider it. So you think about 10 years later, 20 years later, nothing happened in the current Japanese environment. So Japanese is okay. We are GDP, just you said, GDP is decreasing, but I think no problem. If you're going to change your mind, we have opportunity for improving for our country. But if current situation will go in, it's disaster.
Yeah, but I'm hopeful that the current situation will not last.
Yeah. There's no hope now.
No, I'm hopeful that it will change.
But you are not Japanese. Okay.
Yeah, so actually that's the point. I think that's
that's the point.
no, but,
Very
no,
serious
but
point.
so why is that the point? Because actually, I feel that I'm an outsider, right?
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of young people also will feel like me as an outsider in their own society, and that's why I think that things will change.
No, they're outsider. I agree with that. But outsider, but they try to get out from the current situation. But where are you going to? They have no direction. This is a problem.
But there is only one direction that's outside of Japan, no?
No. Just outside the current society, current group, current system. But they don't know where to go. This is a problem. Who's going to teach
I
them?
met a Yakuza guy on Wednesday. He went to outside of Japan and he lived in Thailand for a while, and his English was good.
Do you know why?
Oh, so he wanted to get out of.
Do you know why?
No.
He's the Yakuza tried to deal in gold. And he tried to handle the prostitute, and so tried to sell and deal with women.
But in
money.
Singapore?
Yeah, no, Thailand.
But yeah,
Okay,
but
woman
most of the time in
and
Thailand,
gold.
in Singapore.
Japan is very loose for management of gold. They import gold, they got a lot of money. They import women, they got a lot of money. Right? Yakuza is go overseas to get money because they have very difficult to get money in Japan now. So they try to go outside, back and forth, they try to deal in women. Woman is very easy to get money. Just you yourself, you change your mind. Okay, now I decide the job. I'm going to handle woman. Now he is going to reach. But usually, you consider common sense, right? This is illegal. So many people don't want to do in some kind of illegal.
Right.
But the Yakuza are willing to do that.
Right.
So they bring 10 women and sell them. It's one, okay, 300,000 yen, one woman. Okay, I'm going to sell it for you. 10 is 3 million, 100, 30 million. Get rich. Right? It's easy.
Well, he came back to Japan. Obviously, otherwise he wouldn't have.
Oh, because the reason is, do you know why reason is? My friend lives in Chiang Mai. Okay, 6 months. Too much bored. Okay.
So actually, he realized that he really liked it in
Tell
Japan.
you, if you have to come back, Shinjuku and Kabukicho is more fun. But Chiang Mai or some in Bangkok, and they have, nightlife. It's bored. Right? Or he can take any kind of woman and play, but not more than 6 months. Right? Nothing interesting. So they was that reason to come back to Japan, even if they got money. I don't know. He doesn't want to do that. Okay? But I tell you, this guy is speaking English, but this is a rare case. Usually, he cannot speak English. It doesn't matter. No, he cannot English. You cannot speak English. Just money. How much is this? Okay, just I'm going to buy 5. Right? Easy. And even if business person the same to transport Singapore, they are dealing business with Japanese, within Japanese. In Singapore, they have Japanese village. Okay, play golf and drink and karaoke. Right. Within Japanese, among Japanese. That's the reason they have no English improvement. And they don't read English newspaper. Nikkei newspaper they everyday reading. Not New York Times, not that's Star Life or something. Singapore newspaper.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, something like that. This is true. So that's the reason I wrote book that I show you. English Japanese book for. Okay, English Japanese. Okay, explain English by English and speak to Japan. That's the reason in English.
So, but
and then I recognize. Oh my God, this is useless. Even if I written down in English, but nobody read it, right?
But basically, so the reason why people go to Singapore but do not learn how to speak English is because they prefer to be in the company of Japanese people. So what I foresee is that basically there will be a schism within the Japanese society where young versus old, where old tries to hold on to traditional values, try to keep everything as it is, but at the same time doesn't puts a big burden on younger society. So younger group in society. So they don't want to be with the elderly.
Yeah, I understand. They are children of those people. They went to international school or local school. They can speak English very well.
Right.
So those people growing up, they are of course English background. They'll get if parents living overseas. But parents living in Japan, this sort of things never happen.
Really? Even if they feel that they are no longer part of the Japanese society because the society is ruled by old people?
Oh, even if in Singapore,
No, not in
Japan.
I'm not talking about Singapore. I'm talking about just the younger generation in 50 years.
Absolutely no. No. It's impossible. But they have opportunity to speak English anyway. How are they going to find out their English-speaking friend? No, they cannot.
Everywhere online or...
No, they don't do that. My children never do that.
Your children never do that, but maybe they want to be part of Japanese society.
No, they never do that. It's impossible. They try not do that. They never try to do that. I tell you, teachers cannot speak English. Parents cannot speak English. How come they try to...
Well, that's why because we're going to change the educational system and going to learn English directly at the source, not from
Japanese education system never changed. Next 100 years.
What do you think? What do you think, Kimoto-san? You are...
Okay, you don't misunderstand. Very few people educated. Okay, wisdom people. But politician, 80-90% politician is very traditional and stubborn, never changing mind type of people.
Right, because but they
how come those
shouldn't.
people? How come those people going to change our country? Do you know the municipal city election? Who what kind of people are elected?
People with good hair or
Right.
Beautiful
woman, right?
Right.
So those kind of women, what men and women, good looking guy, beautiful woman, how they're going to change our education system? It's impossible. Okay, democracy is very stable. Japan is very very stable. But it means we're going to improve? No improvement. Don't misunderstand, okay? Current Japan is the most democratic country in the world. Very stable. Everybody happy. Even if 10 years, 20 years, 30 years later, Japan is very happy. GDP declining, no problem at all. Everybody happy. But no improvement.
Do you think that, for example, you said Japan is the most democratic country in the world. Do you think that a lot of people in Japan are aware that Japan is going to put another 40
they don't aware.
coal power?
No, they don't aware because reason is nothing, unless. Okay, no problem. Do you read newspaper? No news in Japan. Why?
Right. So, but basically, nobody puts any attention to the fact that we are building 40 coal-powered electricity.
No. Coal power plant, they don't care about that. Do you know why? Don't misunderstand. They are not educated.
Well, they're educated enough to say.
Oh, they're going graduate university? No, don't. Oh my God. What did you study that university? Nothing.
Okay, but they studied a lot before they had to. They actually entered university.
No. This is nothing. Don't misunderstand. No, ordinary people. This is Okay, just simple question for ask them. Why do you live? What's the goal?
That's not a simple question.
What goal do you have?
Oh,
nothing.
right.
Just only chasing some kind of fun, or just only the only alive many people, no dream, no fear, okay, and only claim for his wife and also his business. That's all. It means very safe, very stable. Nothing change. They don't want to change. Okay, must be careful. Japanese people, they don't want to change. Now is the best they saw, even if they have frustrating, there are some, complaint, something else, but they don't want to change. Don't misunderstand.
But that is also true because I realize and I recognize that all around me in the elderly generation, in the politicians, I do see that. But how long will the youth who actually need to pay for all this stubbornness and the fact that Japan doesn't adopt new technology and is still not capable of globalizing and still holding on to the educational system? How long is youth going to accept that?
Forever. And now you're going to gradually understand. Japanese they never accept drone, air of Tokyo City, right? China accepted Beijing, China accepted Shanghai, Shenzhen, already big city,
Right.
accepted. And China want to change, China want to very soon adopting automatic drivers, automobile, but Japanese people, government never accepted. Do you know why? Because ordinary people never want to do that. Never want to accept it. They don't want to change anything at all. Current situation, okay, from Shinjuku to Kichijoji, no higher building. They never accepted to build a higher building.
No Airbnb within 500 meters of
exactly.
the school.
So at that meaning, it looks crazy, but not crazy. They don't want to change. This is our problem. That's the reason I wrote The Spirit of Japan. Do you have dignity? No dignity. They don't care. Right? This is our problem. This is our problem. Not only education, everything. But reason is simple. Reason is simple. Most happiest country in the world. Nobody walking and watching ground. Everybody watching go straight. Okay? They're happy. They're satisfied everyday life. They don't get. New York Times journalist said that. How come Japanese, they don't have, even if they're poor, they never lost hope. They don't feel, it looks like poverty. They don't look like sorrow, misery. None of those, they're walking around the city. Right? They're everybody, not like vivid, but, just, not like New York downtown. It's different.
No, that's true.
Different. So 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, Japanese GDP person is declining, but still, they're happy. This is a Japanese problem. Okay, that's the reason why 120, 30 million people is okay, just forget it. As it is, no problem. But half a million people go overseas. Okay, I'm going to educate them. You should do that, right?
But I'm afraid that they will not be able to make an impact because the rest of the society will say no.
Right, you're thinking about that. Good example is the constitution. Good example for any kind of government and also election. They just voting people, stupid guide, stupid guide, electly. Electee is almost all people is exactly ordinary people. And can they manage the government? No, because we are so stable. So we are so based upon democracy. Even if they cannot do anything at all, no problem at all. It means they cannot change. Right?
Yeah, but I mean, is that acceptable for younger generation?
No. You are not acceptable. I am not acceptable. But ordinary people will accept that. It means parents accept it, children accept it. Okay? You like say opinion and everything else, but they don't agree with you. Like beforehand, my big one of the publishers company president told me, Clyde, if you're going to speak out your opinion, 85% of your opinion is rejected by broadcast. Okay? He said, why? Because ordinary people don't agree with you. They don't want to change. Okay? And my opinion is, I need change. You had better do that. So please do that. But ordinary people, they don't accept it. Why my book they don't want to buy? Because they don't want to read it. They don't want to listen to my opinion. This is a simple reason. Okay, Japan newspaper, the journalists, many people come to my school, and I had acquaintance with those people. They told me, okay, your opinion never accepted by Japanese ordinary people. That's the reason why they will not adopt your opinion. Okay? Basically, this is wrong. But Japanese newspaper only pick opinion based upon ordinary people's opinion.
But do you think that this will keep going for generation after generation after generation?
Yeah, just Japanese history.
But isn't it true that everywhere else?
Okay, I tell you, they changed their mind. Meiji Restoration. They changed the mind. Defeat the war. 2 times. Past 150 years.
Right.
They changed the 180 degrees. Turn around their mind.
Right.
So if you're going to happen to something happen, like North Korea will drop the nuclear bomb, maybe they're going to change their mind. But I don't know. Some big event will happen. Japanese people are going to, again, 180% change their mind. Okay, we need to go overseas. Okay, maybe they're going to happen. Otherwise, they would never want to change their mind. Okay, Meiji Restoration, they change 100%, they change their mind. Okay, they forget everything happened at Edo era.
Right.
And 1945, Japanese person, they forget everything before World War II. Right? 2 times.
So now the nuclear disaster, nuclear power plant, was a good time to actually change your mind, but it doesn't.
It doesn't. If they're going to restart it, but the Japanese ordinary people never against it. And against people is just only few people. Right?
Well, still the plans are there. TEPCO talks about it. The government talks about it. They can't really openly discuss it, but it's there in their annual report.
Okay, I'm a senior person now. I'm writing the book. Okay, many books. For 2 years, I've written now 15 books already. But nobody read it, nobody listen to it. It doesn't. I don't care, because even if this someday many people recognize it, my opinion, they will listen. But I don't care. But I wanted to write it. Currently, Japanese people, like a Spirit of Japan, their mindset, their attitude for the future is wrong. Right? You don't have dignity, right? So you should have it. Pride. What is your pride? What is the Japanese identity? You don't have it. That I just dare to write it down book. Whether Japanese people, ordinary people read or not, it doesn't matter. But you should do that. Right? Just you are talking about Japanese people should study English and they must be fluent speaking.
Well, actually, I'm not even saying that they must speak English. I think that they want to speak English because they lose touch with their own society. The younger generation will lose touch with the Japanese society. Therefore, they will look for a new society to belong to. It's not like they must speak English. I think that they will want to speak.
Like my daily life, just English speaking opportunity only here.
But
of course, I'm writing English book, and I'm writing, preparing some book, and I'm watching YouTube in English. But usually, normal people, they don't touch English every day. Okay, and okay, but anyway, it's time. By the way, I just tried to check Takashi.
Yeah.
This was not.
You think he's emailing?
No, he no answer.
Oh, send me just an instant message on Facebook, please.
Oh?
Just
He never looks first page.
No. If he answers you, then please send me a message.
Oh, send you.
Yeah.
Okay. Monday. Okay.
Yeah, I will.
You have time anyway, Monday morning, right?
Yeah. So I've changed my life. Every day I get up at 6. It's. So I want to kind of like start to get prepared for whatever is happening in the Airbnb world. So I'm trying to study and work on new business opportunity.
Okay. On the past 6 weeks, I wake up at 5.
5 what, Dekina?
I'm writing book, and
You're also early, man. You're also early. I'm so tired because I go to bed at 1:30, 2 in the morning, and then get up at 6.
Oh, you're young, so
You're young.
when I was your age, I just
currently 59 years old.
49. 49. Yeah.
She's young. That his age, I don't need to sleep.
Really? Well.
Yeah.
So I'm not so young.
So I tell you, I just write a book for 6 weeks, for 3 books, right? 6 weeks. I was so hard and finished last Wednesday. I was so tired. So
must be. So Saturday, I also write you a message about Saturday, the publishing party.
Oh, okay. I don't know how many people come. Maybe 6 or 7.
Always. You see?
But this time the title is The Spirit of Japan.
Maybe more.
More.
Oh, I think actually the title is good for a book. I think maybe that's
education. They have Amazon ranking by industry or by the content. But I submit education. I got 30s out of 100,000. Very good score. 30s. Many people try to watch it. But I don't care about that. Like your English. Okay, you can do it, the remaining portion on the next Monday morning, right?
Okay. Yeah, well, actually, no, we completed.
Completed?
Completed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yay.
Good job.
You remain 2 lines.
So, okay, so the remaining 2 lines is Japan will follow the Nordic model.
What do you mean Nordic model?
Nordic model was the model where the assets of Norway were invested overseas.
Oh, Nordic model.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly, I agree with you.
Yeah. And renewable energy will seriously start to take off in about 5 to 10 years. TEPCO will be decimated.
Decimated, what does it mean?
Means that they will
Disappear.
go. Yeah, they will. Yeah.
Right, okay. Good.
So.
Good.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I hope that.
I hope so too.
Is it finished? Is it the last one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. Very good. So why don't you send something, message for me, what you're going to do the next week? Otherwise, I'm going to prepare.
I'm studying.
No, I need title.
Oh, you need title.
I'm going to preparing every day, send a message to audience, 4,000 people.
Okay. So you want? So I like the idea, but the title. I don't think it's interesting for people to listen to the Netherlands. So basically, I want to mirror Western culture with Japanese culture and the impact of society. So basically, do a comparison between not only culture but also legislation and history and.
Oh, don't forget ancient.
No, well, we don't go. We are only like 450 years old. We're not that old.
No. You are still, people survived 2,000 years ago.
Well, really, there is hardly any history because it was really nothing. The Netherlands was nothing.
Nothing.
But also, I need to get your thought about German philosopher.
my thought on German philosophy.
You studied, right?
German culture.
You studied, right?
German philosophy?
Yeah.
Like who? Hegel and Kant.
Hegel.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Something Hegel, right?
Yeah.
Hegel, right?
Dialectic.
Schopenhauer.
So,
right?
Hegelian dialectic.
You studied, right?
Yes.
Why don't you show them?
Great.
This is very important. If you're going talking about the Dutch culture, you can neglect the German philosophers. Right?
Yeah. Okay. So, but is it going to be only Dutch, or is it West European?
European, French. Oh, French? Are you talking about Sartre?
But actually, French. Yeah, but wait a minute. Like there is a very big cultural difference between German culture, Anglo-Saxon culture, and
also, are you going to touch Napoleon?
Am I going to touch? He was our enemy. He was our enemy.
I tell you, I wrote books that kind of everything, including for Spirit of Japan, in my book. Everything.
So actually, it should be manageable because actually, if it becomes too big, then it's not going anywhere.
Don't care. Just left and right and back and forth, and just you try to make some throw the ball for us.
So Western Japan versus Western culture.
Yeah. And I think write a little bit more. I just need to write what the issue you're going to make.
So Japanese versus Western culture, or is Western versus Japanese?
Okay. This is I'm going to show you. Okay, just a moment.
Western
Culture. But when I say culture, I'm not necessarily talking about arts and stuff like that. Eh?
No.
Like laws and regulations, everything.
Okay.
How about Western principle?
Principles. So.
Principle is a very strong keyword.
Okay, principles.
Okay, I'll give you space. Why don't you write down in English? This is next week Saturday afternoon. Why don't you write English here?
Oh.
My God.
3 lines.
Western versus Japan.
3 lines.
Mm.
Versus Japanese culture.
Western culture versus Japanese. Otherwise, culture. So actually, I'm.
What are you thinking?
So it has to be attractive. Can I send it to you later this weekend maybe? Because
usually I'm up every in the morning at 6 o'clock.
So because if the topic is not clear, then
you receive this my mail every morning.
Maybe it goes into my spam box.
Every morning I write it down. Every morning I show you that like this every
I saw this announcement on Facebook.
This one is like this. Like I show you this one. My here you go. Huh? No. Not today morning. 5:30. Oh. I didn't. Oh my God! No, this is trash. This one. This one? Oh, this one. Today's. Huh? Oh, this is tomorrow morning. Every day I send
聞こえます。拾ってくれます。
Every day I send this one.
ただ、残念なのは、まず事実なのは、3% しか映像ができなかった時に、
This is Japanese.
イスラエルあたりに、
this is
映像は、映像
Huh?
What's his name?
Ohashi.
Ohashi.
Oh, this is yours. This is yours. This is yours. See? Every day I'm up like this.
So moving on to part 2, then now we have decided to move cheek to cheek. Okay. We ended the last version by discussing actually. Okay, so basically, what's going to happen with us as human beings?
Your English is very good. Just the narrative is
one job is replaced for the other.
very accurate.
Less and less people get a real employment. They become self-employed individuals. The people who are flexible enough, they will be able to survive in the system. But as we grow older, we lose flexibility.
But this one is 28 minutes. Why?
Everybody is equipped with
28 minutes. Usually I 10 minutes. Why 28 minutes?
So there was no point.
Exactly. You are very clever.
What will this do for our society?
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Exactly. Okay. Usually 10 minutes, but this is... Soroda speak a lot.